has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. Certainly one of the best baseball writers in the country. You've seen his stuff in the New York Times. Scott Miller, our baseball contributor on Coast to Coast out in Southern California. I saw those crazy fires in Malibu. They cleared out Pepperdine last night at 3 a.m. All the students, I know one of them that goes there, my friend's son, and he got evacuated at 3 a.m. Dangerous fires out there. It's crazy. I hope everybody's all right. Let me ask you, first of all, do you believe this deal for Soto that the Mets can just keep spending money after that deal where that guy's going to make $139,000 a day, $51 million a year, and it goes on and on for 15 years. He can get out in 5, but I do not understand the financials of how you could pay one guy that much money and then be able to just keep paying whoever else you want to on top of it. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, we knew when Steve Cohen was approved by the other owners to purchase the Mets, the fear was he could make George Steinbrenner look like a penny pincher because he has so much money and he wanted to win and he wants to make the Mets New York's team. And we saw a little bit of it early, Scott, and 2 years ago when they signed Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander to those deals, and obviously that blew up. Both of them were past their prime, and it didn't work out. So the Mets regrouped last year, and here we are with this gazillion-dollar deal with Juan Soto. It surpasses Shohei Ohtani's deal. So, we'll see. I'm interested to see what comes next because obviously that's a lot of money to one player. They haven't re-signed Pete Alonso yet. As of right now, Mark Vientos might be the first baseman. But you've got Soto and you've got Francisco Lindor on roster, and that's a pretty good, 1-2 atop your lineup. But, if they lose Alonso, that's 34 home runs removed from last year's lineup. So the bottom line is you've got to have enough money to spread around, and we'll see if Cohen does it. Everybody believes he will. But it's still a work in progress, and we'll see what happens next.
Do you believe that the Astros would trade Tucker to the Yankees? I said that they would, based on they're not in their division, and they might face them once in a playoff series, and they don't believe that one guy can haunt them or terrorize them if they traded him. I could see not trading him in the division, but against better judgment, I think they would trade him to the Yankees.
I do too. I mean, I think if the Yankees come up with a best offer, then they'll trade him to the Yankees. And you know what? In a perverse way, who knows? I mean, you never know in baseball. Even when a monster thing like Juan Soto signing with the Mets, when that happens, we all give our instant analysis. But baseball is one of those games that sometimes it takes a little while to see how things turn out. I'll tell you this, Kyle Tucker to the Yankees, if that were to happen, that could be a much better thing for the Yankees than them spending a ton of money to retain Juan Soto. Tucker will fit beautifully into that lineup. He's a better base runner. Defensively, he's better. And I think, Juan Soto, there's only one, guy that gets on base and hits like him. But he does have some limitations, which also makes me a little surprised at this $700+ million deal, because, I mean, it's not like we're talking a 5-tool player here. No. So we'll see. Yes, I think Tucker could go to the Yankees, maybe. And I think it could end up long-term being a better play for the Yankees than, retaining Juan Soto at that price.
Why is Sasaki not going to make money? I heard that he's going to get like some crappy deal to play in the major leagues. But why is he so sought after and he's not going to get paid?
Yeah, it has to do with the complicated and convoluted way players from Japan are classified and international amateur free agents. Because Sasaki's only 23 and because he's only played a few years in the Japanese league, he doesn't have the seniority to qualify as a legitimate true free agent. it's a little bit like, remember when Shohei Ohtani came over a few years back, and Ohtani was kind of the same way. He could have waited another year or two to post and go to the majors and make a ton of money, but he didn't want to wait. He wanted to go now, which is where Sasaki's at. And by going now for Ohtani and now Sasaki, they're still classified as amateur free agents rather than true free agents because, as I said, of their, Sasaki hasn't, he hasn't pitched in the Japanese league 6 or 7 years, and he's only 23. So because of the rules he comes over governed under the international amateur free agent, clubs can only spend what their amateur free agent budget is within that range. So, yeah, I mean, a team could have Sasaki for like $6 million a year instead of way beyond that.
That's crazy. Where do you think Max Fried and Crochet are going to end up?
Yeah. Fried, the reports out of Dallas this week, the winter meetings right now have the American League East teams hot after him, after Fried, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays. And that all makes sense. I mean, obviously, the Yankees won the division last year. They just lost Soto. They're regrouping and more than winning the division, I think the Yankees' moves this year are going to be predicated this winter on losing the World Series. They finally got back to their first World Series since 2009, but obviously it ended in very disappointing fashion in New York, especially that ugly fifth inning. So they're looking to regroup and get back to that World Series and win it this time. And Garrett Cole needs some help in that rotation, so I could see Fried going there. And obviously Boston's trying to climb back up the ladder. And poor Toronto, they took a swing at Ohtani, they took a swing at Soto. They just can't convince guys to take their money.
Well, what about Crochet?
Crochet will be interesting. I mean, you could see him going to the Yankees. I mean, I wouldn't put even like the Padres beyond Crochet. I mean, we've seen AJ Preller and all the crazy trades that he's able to figure out, including trading for Dylan Cease on the eve of last season. Crochet will, by the way, the White Sox cannot blow this one either, because obviously coming off one of the worst seasons in baseball history,
right?
The White Sox have to figure this out, and they've got to hit. They've got the prospects they get back, be it from the Yankees, the Padres, whomever. They've got to be legit prospects, and they've got to hit, because otherwise the White Sox will be even more of a mess than they are now.
What do you think of the Dodgers and all of the money they've spent, and the fact that they kicked the Yankees' ass, and then they add Snell, and they're just getting better by the minute?
Yeah, they are. And you know what? I mean, the Guggenheim ownership, as we know, they've been on this for a while. They've spent money, and they keep spending money. And, as Andrew Friedman said during the World Series, their president of baseball operations, we think, hey, we're in a new golden age of Dodger baseball. And as long as they have Ohtani, I mean, just signing him, the corporate deals they have, Scott, with Japan, with various companies in Japan,
right,
it's like more than $120, $130 million. And they've got income coming in from Ohtani. They sell out almost every night. They've got a deep pocket of ownership that wants to win. And, it's only going to create more economic divide in the game itself. Obviously, the Mets and Dodgers are going north in payroll, but, Blake Snell, Ohtani, I can see them bringing Teoscar Hernandez back this year.
Oh, God.
They're playing for keeps. The Dodgers are playing for keeps.
Don't even tell me that. Look, I like the Padres. I hate the Dodgers. So I want the Padres to go toe-to-toe with them, as you know. And I think the Mets, Dodgers, and Padres are still the class of the National League, to be honest with you. I can't wait to see how everything plays out and where these guys go. Arenado as well. Scott, we'll see you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, so let's shift gears now. And by the way, I said Arenado at the end there with Scott. I want no part of that guy. After watching him fall off a cliff in St. Louis last year, that's the beginning of the end for him. I don't want any part of that guy. Like, I don't trust that guy in a deal to save your ass. Seriously. And we'll do NBA now.
I would not want anything to do with him. For either corner. I know I've even seen him today. His agent was there doing a big powwow with the media that he'd be even willing to go to first base in the right situation. No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. And that goes for his buddy, too, because Goldschmidt's also trying to find a new home. So Goldschmidt and Arenado both are looking for new homes. I would not get excited if the Yankees get one of those.
About either one
that
of
would
them.
Not excite me. Either one of them, that would not excite me. Like, I saw the Tigers were interested in Goldschmidt. Like, that'd be like, go to the Tigers. The Blue Jays could have Arenado and things like, Blue Jays are going to strike out on everyone else. So you might as well give them Arenado this year. And one other thing, because you did mention this earlier, but I thought we should bring it up also, was Dave Parker, the Cobra.
Yeah.
The classic baseball era committee voted him in, which is all baseball before 1980, the committee that votes on that. So he will be in the 2025, that should say, Baseball Hall of Fame class. So congratulations to Dave Parker.
I used to love watching that guy play baseball when I was a kid. I used to go out there to Three River Stadium and watch that guy just rake. I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's in. So it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Once they put you in, they don't take you out. That's it. Great. You're in there for life. The Cobra in there for you. All right, NBA
he
now.
He can really throw guys out, man. That guy had an arm on him, I'll tell you what.
He did. We got NBA now. Of course, some limited schedules here the next couple nights because we've hit the NBA Cup knockout rounds, the quarterfinals, and there was only one game last night. So let me give you that first. The Knicks beat the Raptors 113-108 up in Toronto. Tight game. Raptors actually had a lead it was a great game. Raptors had a lead in the fourth. Knicks came back, and then the Knicks ice it with a big cat 3 on MSG last night.
Shot clock down to 5. Here's Towns from 3. It's good! Karl Anthony Towns with the dagger. 3-point field goal, and the Knicks lead by 5.
Towns from downtown with the swish. Yeah, how sweet it is.
Did you see your boy
got
Clyde
Clyde in.
last night? He just had the pimp jacket on, the black and white checkered pimp jacket. He had it all going. I saw R.J. Barrett giving him a hug, and he's like, "You got the pimp jacket on." I'll tell you what, Cat is becoming a double-double machine. He's a sick pick and roll with Brunson. They're starting to find their way. They're a good team. They're fun to watch. He's incredible. I think he's jumped into the, believe it or not, the MVP talk. I think you're going to see him on the odds board, moving up the food chain. And, you know, when he plays, it's not every night, but when he plays, he usually goes off. And you know what I liked most about him last night was when he hit the big shot, he walked around and let everybody know where he played. He was like, you know, tugging on to New York and saying, I play in New York, mother Ferrellers. That's what's up. New York. And I like that.
I know there was a lot of questions when they made that trade about how he would fit in and do all that. He's been awesome for the Knicks. I know it's only a couple months, but like he's been awesome, and hopefully that continues on for them into the playoffs, et cetera, and he doesn't get hurt because we know that happens a lot in the NBA. But I think the Towns marriage with Brunson and with these OG Anunoby and all these other guys, he's been a real good fit with this trade. So it's great to see for the Knicks that it's worked out. The Knicks will be part of the NBA Cup knockout round, but they have to wait until tomorrow night when they play Trae Young and the Hawks at the Garden. But the first 2 knockout games are tonight, starting at 7 o'clock East in Milwaukee, where the Magic, who have been real good this year, the Magic are 17-9 as they head into Milwaukee tonight, but there's a problem for them. They will not have their 2 best players. No Paolo Banchero, no Franz Wagner. Both of them are out. Milwaukee, it looks like, will have everyone, Middleton, Giannis, everyone ready to rock. Minus 7.5 for the Bucks. 215.5 is the total.
Yeah, I don't see how Orlando can win this game. No one can stop Giannis. I think he's going to have an amazing night. You know, if you got no Banchero, no Franz Wagner, they got Mo Wagner and you know, the rest of that team, they're not beating this team tonight. They're not stopping Giannis. He's going to have 40, 50 points. The guy's going to go off. I like the Bucks in this game tonight because of their injuries. And I mean it. Like usually you'd say, well, he's not playing, and you bet on him and you hit the bet. I don't believe that they're deep enough to handle those 2 losses. They've already played without Banchero for a month and a half. I think that Franz Wagner, he was scoring 30 a game and carrying the team on his back. Now he's gone. They're dead.
I think it's real tough to back the Magic tonight. And I know they just beat the Suns the other night. You know, Milwaukee's playing better ball too, right? I mean, since they've been getting everyone, Giannis has been a beast. I just can't do it. It's Bucks or nothing for me in that game tonight in Milwaukee. As they will the winner will move on to Vegas, and we expect that to be the Bucks. In the other game, the Mavs are in OKC against the Thunder. Thunder minus 4.5, 230.5 is the total for this game tonight. This is a good one coming up in the second game.
Well, the Mavs beat them 121-119, and they're only meeting this year. And obviously, the Thunder are not afraid of the Mavericks. But I believe that the Mavericks in big games, we've already seen what they did last year. We already seen them go to the finals. We've already seen them what Luka and Kyrie do. Now they got Clay. They got great size. Gafford, Washington. They have it all. And you know what? I've been hearing about, I think the Thunder, I really like the Thunder. But I don't think they're beating this team tonight. I don't care where the game goes.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a challenge. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, it's 4.5 that game, and like I said, they beat them by 2 earlier this year, and that's the one team I think that Oak City has a legitimate problem with. I think they're so good, so deep, so talented, best backcourt in the NBA, and D. Will and Shea are great, but they're not Luka and Kyrie, and I just think they're, that's why they made it last year against Boston, because that's how good they are. No one saw them coming out of the West, but they did. And like I think we said earlier, a week or whatever more ago, that we kind of like Dallas and the Knicks to come out in Vegas in the final. We'll see if it happens.
Yeah, I'm with you with Dallas tonight with the 4.5 in OKC. And yes, we did say last week, when we knew who the 8 were going to be, that we thought Dallas and Knicks would be our picks for the finals. Well, the Thunder are the favorites as we get going tonight to win the NBA Cup. I've got them at plus 280 here. It looks like that's what we have them up on that board as well. Knicks at plus 310. The the Mavericks are plus 750. So a little bit further down. That would be the team out of the bottom 4 that I would take the shot with is Dallas. Because I know one thing about Dallas. They could beat every team on that list. I don't know if I could say that about everybody there. Dallas can beat everybody on that list.
Yeah, and I'll give you another one. Atlanta at 23-1 because of Ice Trae and Jaren Johnson. They're, sneakily good. They go out and they win. They win a lot of games, and they're tough. I guarantee you that when they play the Knicks, it's going to be a problem at the Garden. Because this guy, there's no one in the NBA, not one player, not even LeBron, that goes off at the Garden like Ice Trae does. He owns Madison Square Garden. It's his B. That's just all there is to it.
And look, he always plays well against the Knicks and can beat the Knicks. And who would be waiting for them in Vegas? The Bucks. They just beat the Bucks' ass last week in Milwaukee. So they ain't scared of that team either. So that could be a decent deep shot where you got yourself a little 23-1. If they can make it a little far into Vegas, you'd have a nice ticket that maybe you can do some moves with if they make the finals and kind of edge it with that Western Conference squad. So there you go. NBA Cup knockout round starting tonight. Last week we talked about Jimmy Butler and if the Heat would be open to trading him. It was reported today they absolutely are open to trading Jimmy Butler. And once that gets out there, it's only a matter of time. It's happening. It's going to happen between now and February when that trade deadline is. They're going to get Butler out of Miami.
I think there's a couple things here, Mike. One, I think he's, frankly, high maintenance. Not only physically speaking, but I think mentally as well. I mean, you got to suck up to Jimmy to keep Jimmy happy. And Jimmy's got a lot of drama going on. That's why they had him on the starting five. He's got, his dad died. He's got all these kids. He's got, always has some kind of personal drama going on. He's always injured. He's getting older. And they did not win a chip with him. So they've had him, and he's been there, and they've never gotten closer than they were. Now they're falling off that ledge. They don't matter right now in the East. It's over with Jimmy Butler in the Heat. They're going to trade him, and he's going to become someone else's problem because he'll go to what he's going to be? He'd be Harden to the Rockets. He would be the old guy on the team that scores his 24, 28 a game and then misses games left and right, but will be there in the playoffs and do his usual song and dance. And we talked about it before. He's going somewhere like that, and I think they'd be interested in him, but I don't think the Heat are interested in dealing with it anymore. I think they, frankly, kind of want to get rid of him. They've had their run with him, and it didn't work.
Sell high now while there's still some value there, and there's actually still teams that are willing to give you something of value for him because you're not winning the NBA title, and you keep running him out there, and he keeps breaking down. The value only goes lower and lower. So you might as well sell now while you can and somebody's willing to pay. Chris Paul moves to second on the all-time assist list as he passed Jason Kidd the other night. So congrats to Chris Paul.
That was incredible. And another team on Butler would be the Mavericks. Imagine if they got him with what they already have. So I think Dallas and the Rockets are in on Jimmy Butler. And Paul's incredible.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean for the NBA Cup? Who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Mike. This was the day all those years ago that Chris Paul, the trade to the Lakers was vetoed. And then Kobe Bryant, I believe, would have won a 6th championship if he played with Chris Paul. Let's face facts. You can say whatever you want about CP3 and his career, no rings or anything like that, but he is truly a baller. My man can dish it, and he can hit that mid-range shot to this day. Pick and roll, forget about it. The guy's got it down to a science. He could do it blindfolded. And it's really incredible that he's number 2 all-time now in dimes, passing Jason Kidd. But think of what he would have been like playing with Kobe Bryant, honestly. I think they would have won another championship, the Lakers.
It's very possible. Instead, he ended up on the other side of Los Angeles with the Clippers.
What a disaster that was.
What a disaster. He's got 12,099 now. Now, of course, getting to the top is very difficult for anybody because Stockton had 15,000 assists in the NBA, which I mean, look, that's a pretty big number that Stockton racked up. LeBron now at 11,219. So maybe LeBron, by the time he's old, LeBron won't be around long enough to pass.
He's not catching that number. He's going to be around.
He's not.
I'd say one more year.
Yeah, he won't get. I think he'll be where he is. I think he'll be 4th. I don't even think he'll get to. He won't even get to the kid at 3. He's like 1,000 behind him. He ain't gonna have another 1,000 assists in the next year or so in order to get that done. So there you go, NBA for tonight. How about some college rack for you? Nice job by Indiana last night.
We hit
82-67. They beat the Gophers there at home at Assembly Hall. So a nice cover for them. We do have a tradition unlike any other this evening. The Jimmy V Classic, as always, held at the Garden. I see a lot of people getting ready. They're going to be filing in across the street. And they get dealt the newly minted number 1 team in the country tonight, the Tennessee Volunteers, who will play in the first game against Miami. And then the nightcap, you will have Michigan and Arkansas. So Cal in the building tonight. Along with Dusty May. Minus 14.5 for the Vols this evening. Minus 3.5 for the Wolverines in the nightcap.
Yeah, look, I think Tennessee will beat Miami. I think that Miami is not what they were. And I'll say this, I don't really buy that over either. I don't think Miami's going to score on Tennessee. I think Tennessee will lock them down and beat them. And I think Michigan will beat Arkansas. I think the second game will be better than the first game, if that's the game. Michigan-Arkansas, I think, is the better matchup. I think those two teams will go at it. I think Miami's got their hands full with Tennessee tonight. Although, you heard me yesterday, I think that Auburn is the best team in the country, and I'll stand by that until proven otherwise. I need to see more of Tennessee, so I'll be able to get an eye of them tonight. But I've watched Auburn play, and they mean business. That Broom guy means business. So I'm going Auburn the rest of the way, and I think Duke's a Final Four team as well. I want to see how good this Tennessee team is. I've seen Alabama play. I want to watch Michigan. I didn't watch the Michigan-Wisconsin game, so we'll see how they do tonight at the Garden. Always a great event at Jimmy V. You got a lot going on there on that block. The SportsGrid Christmas party and the Jimmy V Classic going head-to-head.
I don't know how you can contain both in the same space, but we will try to do that this evening.
Within arm's reach of the Garden.
And Miami does stink. They're really bad this year. They're 3-6. They're just not a good basketball team, so Tennessee should take care of business with them. There are other games tonight outside of the Jimmy V at the Garden. You mentioned Duke. Big challenge for Duke tonight. Incarnate Word coming to Cameron Indoor. You want like 34 and a hook tonight with Duke. Penn State and Rutgers at the rack this evening. Wisconsin and Illinois in the Big Ten. Cornell making the long trip to Berkeley this evening to take on Cal.
Yeah, have fun with that. That's a long trip, and I think Cal will beat them. Wisconsin and Illinois, I'll take the 6.5 points in Champaign. I think Houston will destroy Troy. I like Rutgers at the rack, and I like Duke. They're going to paste Incarnate Word. By the time they're done with them tonight, they will be the Incarnate Word.
Incarnate Word. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Honestly.
I bet they don't let girls in the guys storm that Incarnate Word.
No, I don't think that they do that. How about hockey?
Everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey. I'll start it now, and I'll have to finish it after Coach because there are a lot of games tonight. I did also want to say this to you. Someone had to win last night. The Red Wings had lost 5 in a row. The Sabres had lost 6 in a row. The Sabres had a 2-goal lead going into the third period, and they blew it again at home. So the Wings beat the Sabres 6-5 up there in Buffalo last night. The Sabres have now lost 7 games in a row, and they were favored last night in that game. Rangers lost again, too, to the lowly Blackhawks at the Garden. What a shame that is.
What a shame that is. How will I ever get through the evening?
And the Habs beat the Ducks in Montreal last night for you as well. So that was only the games last night. Tonight, though, we got a lot of games
left and
including
right. We're just hitting tons of games, Carver High. You and I.
Tons of games. Let's get a
hockey.
Yes. We'll get 2 or 3 in here, and then we'll do the rest after Coach. Toronto is across the river at the Rock against the Devils this evening, where the Devils are minus $1.40, plus $1.16 for Toronto as they face their former coach, Sheldon Keefe. 6.5 is the total.
I mean, if the Penguins can beat them, why not the Devils at the Rock? Give me Jersey.
Why not? Give us Jersey. What do we got here? Hockey night at the PPG in Pittsburgh with the Colorado Avalanche in town. They are favored on the road, minus $1.66, plus 138 for the Penguins, and a 6.5.
Penguins have won 5 of 6. They're playing really good hockey. They beat Toronto, but this is a different animal altogether. I think they lose to the Avalanche tonight in Pittsburgh. They can beat decent teams. They don't beat good teams.
I'll give you the rest after Coach, as we then will go into the final hour of all college football bowl games. The expanded extra hour of C2C today will have all college bowl games starting at 6 o'clock East. Can't wait.
Well, I'm excited.
I have 2 more minutes. I have 2 more minutes.
I don't know what's happening here, but I know that you can do more hockey. But I am excited about the last hour to talk college football with you and get you ready for the Christmas party. It's important that you have a big evening. I am on, what do we got now? Sharks, Canes, and Raleigh tonight. You know what's going to happen
Sharks, Canes, heavy lumber of the night, minus 500, plus 375 for the Sharks with a 6.5.
I mean, that is absolutely absurd, that line. It really is. Puck line it with the Canes over to Sharks.
Why not? Puck line it with them. Next, Columbus at home for the Flyers this evening. Right now, minus 118. Flyers, the slight road favorite. Minus 102 for the Blue Jackets. 6.5 the total here as well.
Yeah, I like the Blue Jackets tonight in Ohio to win that game at that price.
The Islanders are at the horse track this evening, where they've actually won a couple of games recently. They have the Kings in town, who are on an East Coast trip. Kings have been very good this year, 16-8-3, and they're road favorites at the horse track, minus $1.35. Islanders plus 112 on home ice, 5.5.
The Islanders look good the last couple of games, and that'll all hit a wall tonight against the Kings.
Oh, I don't know how you could play the Islanders against the Kings. Kings are a much better team. Flames are in Nashville against the Predators, minus $1.85 for the Preds, plus 155 for the Flames, 5.5 total.
I think that price is enormous. I think that's why they're going to win. Nashville win this game tonight at the Bridgestone.
Now, I will give you the rest of the hockey after Coach. I thought it was the old clock from like 4 years ago.
You were just thinking of Christmas cookies and eggnog.
That's what I was doing. That's what I was doing.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a challenge. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set, to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to keep going here with hockey because everybody loves hockey, and that Coach will join us momentarily from somewhere down the show.
Yes, he will. Let's finish all the hockey now. The Bruins are in Ferrallapeg against the Jets tonight. The Jets are favored against the Bruins. I got the Jets at minus 135. Now you got 138 on the board up there, plus $1.15 for Boston on the road with a 5.5.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't think the Jets have been playing well lately. And I think this one might be the upset of the night. The Bruins go in there and beat them.
Could be the upset of the night. And the Jets have not. I know, what were they, 15-1 to start the year, somewhere in that area. They're like 5-8 or 5-9 since then. Like, they have not been good since that great start. So I'm with you. I could see the Bruins absolutely going in there and taking care of business tonight. The Lightning are in Edmonton against the Oilers this evening. Oilers minus $1.50 now. Lightning plus $1.30 with a 6.5. Like the over here tonight. Can we get some goals with Tampa and the Oilers tonight?
Have you seen this team? They score 8 goals in a game. I'm going to take the Lightning at Rogers Place right in Edmonton as well at plus $1.30. Give me another road taste.
Let's go. The Wild are in Utah at the Delta against the Hockey Club this evening. Utah minus $1.20 at home. Even money for the Wild out here with a 5.5 total in this game as well. The Hockey Club.
There's another team that's better than them, the Wild. So at that price, I'll take Minnesota to win in Salt Lake Shakers.
The Wild are at the top of the Western Conference. They've caught Winnipeg after that huge start, and you're only getting them for even money tonight in Utah. I like that as well. Let's go with them. The Blues are at Vancouver. Morency's going to be at the game. I don't know how much of that you want to factor into the cap. Minus 172 for the Canucks, plus $1.42 for the Blues, and a 5.5.
Well, the funny thing is they're terrible at home. The Canucks are 4-6-3 at home, and St. Louis is 8-7-1 on the road, and they've been playing pretty good hockey lately. I'll take the Blues on the road in Vancouver to upset the Canucks.
How about that? Blues on the road. And the Panthers are in Seattle against the Kraken, the Stanley Cup champion Panthers. And they're laying the lumber, minus 190 and plus $1.58 for the Kraken with a 5.5.
How about a Kraken upset tonight at the Climate Pledge over the Stanley Cup champs? I seen the Penguins beat them, and they're awful. Why can't the Kraken, who just went to the Garden and slapped the Rangers around for 7 goals and beat their ass, why not a Seattle Smoke Kraken win tonight over the Stanley Cup Panthers? Are you kidding me? And here he is now, unbelievably. You got to love it. We got a we got a seg and a half. We're not going for a double shot. We're getting a seg and a half with Coach James Young, our basketball guru and insider, top shelf status. Catch his podcast, Betting Above the Rim, Rockstar on C2C as well. So tonight we have a limited Magic team without Franz Wagner, the great pianist and concerto writer, against the Fiserv Bucks. And then the game of the night, the Mavericks, who beat the Thunder by 2 in a great game this year, getting 4.5 in OKC. The Thunder are favored to win the whole thing. I think the Mavericks are going to beat them.
Well, listen, first things first, the first game of the night, with Milwaukee versus Orlando, obviously we look at the injuries to both Wagner and Banchero. Ferrall, both with oblique injuries, which is wild. The two guys, that's got to be something with the training staff. But Milwaukee, folks, is starting to play a little bit better. I know they've lost 2 of the last 3, but that was at Boston, and Atlanta's been sneaky good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks minus 6.5 points. When you look at Orlando and how they've been hot against the spread as of late, going 7-3 against the spread, besides that win against Phoenix, which was just at home, like on the road, they've kind of struggled a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Milwaukee Bucks minus 6.5. When you get to game number 2, Ferrall, buckle up. I'm going over in this game. This Dallas
Mavericks number, the first game 121-119 was right around that number.
121. Yep, 121-119. So here's the thing. There's a couple reasons why I like it to go over. Number one, Dallas's offense, is absolutely ferocious. How much they can score. Think about the last couple of games. 125, 137, 121, 137. So they're going to carry their end of the bargain. Now, I know Oklahoma City is going to play one of the better defenses in the league. But Ferrall, if that game is close, right, and I think it's going to be close, what do we get? Fouls, stop clock, free throws, extra possessions late. You talked about it, 121-119 earlier this year. I'm going over 231. I think it gets over 235, almost to 240.
So I love your props. The Luka and Trent props, I think, are juicy.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Luka Doncic, over 17.5 points, rebounds plus assists, if I expect the game to be close, right? So that means that I expect big minutes out of Luka. The ability to push the pace, right, and get the assists. Because I think you load up on Luka, make other people beat him. But the amount of threes that Oklahoma City can shoot, long shots, long rebounds, over 17.5. And then Gary Trent Jr., here's why. If you're Jamal Mosley and you're a really good defensive coach, you load up on Giannis and you load up on Dame. So the next guy up is the guy you start looking at. That's Gary Trent Jr. Over 10 of the last 12 games, over the last 2 games versus Orlando Magic. I think he goes over this. Gary Trent Jr. over 9.5 points tonight.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about tomorrow's games, including the great game at the Garden between the Hawks and Knicks, and Ice Tray gives the Knicks fits, and the Dubs and Rockets. We'll ask Coach if he thinks that Jimmy Butler's going to the Mavericks or the Rockets in a deal, and we'll find out who he likes tonight in college basketball. Not only his picks, but who he likes in the Jimmy V at the Garden, going on up against the SportsGrid Xmas Bowl.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as deep overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set, to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin, back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Spew News from the Spew Newsroom and the Spew News desk. Max Fried has signed a gigantic 8-year deal with the Yankees for $218 million. Signs with the Pinstripers, a little bit less expensive than Juan Soto with his brilliance in right field and his base running blunders. I know he can hit, but $765 million, $218 million, 8 years as opposed to 15 years and being locked into that nightmare. They get freed. Now they can go get Walker, maybe go after Teoscar. I like that deal for Fried. I'll tell you that much. Let's get back to coach, though, in basketball. Tonight, the Jimmy V is going on at the Garden up against the Christmas party at SportsGrid. And there are competing parties at the Versa. There is over 600 people in that room. Another reason that I'm here doing the show in the studio, as you know, Coach, I get paid to do shows. And if I go drinking in the city, anything is possible. So I'm in a safer place tonight. But I hope everyone has an excellent time at the Christmas party. And I love everyone. And I mean it. Who do you like tonight? Tennessee and Miami, Michigan and Arkansas at the world's most famous, one of your favorite places.
Yeah, and shout out to everyone. Coach isn't going to make it either. That's why I'm here with you and not over there at the Christmas party. I would have been about, well, that's not important. So when you get to the game tonight, Ferrall,
I don't want to hit on all them ho-ho-hos.
Oh, hey, Merry Christmas, my brother. When you talk about Miami, Ferrall, there needs to start to be a conversation about whether Jim Larranaga maybe passed his prime. This team has lost 6 games in a row. They lose them all different ways. They lose them close. They lose them late. Yeah. They lose them as favorites, lose them as 25-point favorites, lose them as underdogs. This team's in trouble versus a Tennessee team that's playing as good as anyone in the country. I know it's a big spread, but this should not be a problem for Rick Barnes' crew. Give me Tennessee minus the points. And an intriguing matchup here in game number 2. Arkansas, folks, have underachieving. You got to admit, Dusty May's done a really good job with this Michigan team, kind of blending them all in together. But Ferrall, I don't know why I'm thinking this. I'm taking Arkansas plus the points. I just got this crazy feeling that this Arkansas team eventually will start to turn it around. They have won 2 straight. Their losses are to Illinois and Baylor. Those are not bad losses. Give me Arkansas plus 3.5. Whoa, pick Suey.
All right, let's look at your other college plays tonight. I saw them before. if we could throw those back up there, I think I have them. There they are. Rutgers against Penn State. The Cuse game against Albany. Tough game for them tonight. Nice scheduling. And then Troy is going to get whacked by Houston and may not score.
Well, of course, Ferrall, it's Jersey. And it's R-U. Very inconsistent team here, Ferrall. But if you look at the 4 losses that Rutgers has this year, right? Think about it. Ohio State, which they lost by 14. It's a tough place to play on the road, right? Texas A&M, tough game, lost by 4. Alabama, I think that was an overtime game, lost by 5, right? And then the Kennesaw State was an outlier. I know people are big on Penn State off of that 11-point win, but they've only been on the road once. And that was an 8-point loss to Clemson. They got to go to the rack. Give me Rutgers Scarlet Knights minus 3.5.
You think Chop should apply to Rutgers?
Absolutely. I mean, and listen, shout out to my man John Hampton and that women's team. They're getting a little bit better, but they're not there yet. Speaking of not there yet, Albany, come on down to the congregation as you're going to get boat raced by the Syracuse Orange. You look at this team and you look at those records, and that's where people are getting a little crazy here with Albany here playing well. But Ferrall, who have they played? Have they played anyone that's worth noting in their wins, even though they're 6-4? Syracuse 4-4. I get it, but those games they've lost have been actually power teams. Give me the Orange minus the points, and then Troy. Going to Houston. Bad news. If you are not a power team and you're playing Houston, you don't get the 50. What the line is 52.5. Give me Troy under 52.5 versus the Houston Cougars.
What about Monmouth and Princeton tonight?
Well, I hate going against my guy King Rice, but I mean, they're in trouble. Give me the Princeton Tigers minus the points in the Battle of the Garden State.
13.5 is that game tonight at Princeton. Get a great education at Princeton and see some decent basketball along the way. Coach, shot and a half for you. Thank you for coming on as always. Have a great night. Enjoy the games. And we'll see how the Knicks do tomorrow night against Ice Tray.
Too hot. You win them big.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a challenge. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
We are close right now to round 1 perfection. And the problem I'm going to have is, depending on some of these outcomes on Saturday, it's going to ruin my excitement for round number 1.
I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to scream. Called my doctor after last Monday when we went at it. He said, listen, the blood pressure is off the charts. We can't have you looking like that. I don't want to see neck veins.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.